It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, welcome back to another Real Estate Breakfast, your largest real estate podcast in Australia. And what is today? It is election day. Do you know who you're going to be voting for as we talk property from Port Lincoln to Gladstone and every city in between, and streaming on multiple platforms, including iHeartRadio. Well, it didn't take long, did it, for the weekend to roll around? You might be sort of thinking in the back of your mind, yes, who am I voting for today? Is it that close in your mind? It is a Saturday, May the 3rd, and Property Day across Australia too. There will have been some of you with some intense prepping throughout the week and sort of just trying to realise how you're going to attack some of these auctions that are happening up and down the country. You have to have your game plan on paper ready to go, and in conjunction with that, you should also have your game face on. Remember that very valuable piece of advice from a few weeks ago? We were talking to an auctioneer who said, don't pull out your calculator in the middle of the auction. You will be, if you do that, signalling to the competition that you are getting near to the end of your budget limit. So good luck with whatever you are doing today regarding buying or selling property. And if you're dreaming of having an Aussie beach home lifestyle, thinking, well, it's probably out of reach, well, the dream is still alive with some coastal towns offering median prices of under $650,000. Spots like Nambucca Heads and Venus Bay, they have actually dipped in values. Others like Zilsey and Bicassia in Queensland have also surged. Victoria also holds affordable gems in areas like Paynesville, and Domain's latest data reveals budget-conscious buyers are seizing the chance to mix lifestyle with value. And on that note, let's catch up with Scott Mitchell on the Fraser Coast from Mitchell's Realty. Although right at the moment, you're not on the Fraser Coast.
No, g'day Craig. I'm down in the Illawarra, which is actually my old hometown. I grew up in a town called Windang, just south of Wollongong, and I'm just down visiting my mother at the moment. I flew down. It's one of the benefits of Hervey Bay is we've got those daily Jetstar services between Hervey Bay and Sydney. But I've got to say, it's blowing a cold southwesterly down here in Windang today. It's coming off the snow somewhere further to the south, and I don't miss that at all.
Yeah, and what is your mum's name?
My mum is Kathleen Mitchell. Friends will call her Kath.
All right, Kath. Well, we know that you will be listening this morning, so how good is that? You've got your son looking after you on election day, and we'll talk in just a moment about the election. But I wanted to ask you, some of these areas I haven't heard of, Bicassia, Zilsey, you said that you've heard of that because you've got a property there, so perhaps just tell people where these areas are.
Yeah, for sure. Zilsey, as anyone's been listening to our podcast for the last few years now, they're aware that I'm a mad keen angler or fisherman. We did some research a few years ago, myself and my wife Katrina, and we purchased a home in Zilsey because we love being on the coast or near a beach. When you leave Rockhampton and you head to Yeppoon along the coast, you'll head out via Emu Park. And just to the south of Emu Park is a beautiful little community beachside suburb called Zilsey, and we've brought a property there 3 years ago now, just a couple of blocks or streets from the beach. We're using that as our fishing base, so a holiday home, and I thought it was relevant with this story that Emily Power, the journalist that I spoke to recently, who writes for the Domain Group along with a number of national papers, she was talking about beachside locations where, you know, the Australian dream of still being able to have a beach house or a holiday home, it is still there if you go looking for it. And Zilsey is one of those locations, along with Scarness, which is one of our Hervey Bay suburbs, where we're still under 600,000 in those areas. We've again discussed that it's the affordability that is still driving Hervey Bay's market. But if you're a keen angler and you particularly like chasing barramundi and king threadfin salmon, the Fitzroy River would have to be one of the best trophy barramundi and king threadfin salmon rivers in the country. Looking in that area, Silsey, Emu Park, Yeppoon, some have said that Yeppoon could well be the next Queensland Byron Bay. It's an area worth a look if you haven't already paid attention to it. Still offering fantastic value for those looking to get into the market.
Now, you talk about Zilsey. What about Nambucca Heads as well as Venus Bay? Can you talk to where those locations are, as well as just sort of circle back to Zilsey? What's the population of Zilsey?
You've thrown me under the bus a little there, Craig. Nambucca Heads is a great location. I'm familiar with that because, again, great fishing just north of Coffs. Great location for fishing, lifestyle, pretty good temperate climate in that neck of the woods. I was a little unsure of where Bucacia, or how we say Bacacia, is, so I'm not up to speed on that one. Swinging back to Zilsey, it was the fishing that attracted us to that area, and got Rockhampton nearby. So I suppose in this context, if you're a buyer looking to invest into a beachside community, you always look for location, but you look for infrastructure. So in the Capricorn Coast, where you've got Zilsey, Yeppoon, and then Rockhampton's a significant city. I can't tell you what the population is, but it's going to be higher than Hervey Bay, and it's got everything you need as far as major infrastructure with hospitals, medical, healthcare.
Let me come back to Zilsey. I just got a question. What's the drive time, if you know that one, between Zilsey and Rockhampton? Just trying to pin that down for everybody this morning.
Yeah, no, I know that one well. So we'd like it to be probably an hour less, but it takes me 5 hours. So to tow my boat, because I always tow the boat when we go heading up there. So to tow the boat from Hervey Bay out to Zilsey is a 5-hour run. So it does take 5 hours. The road's not too bad. They've improved the Bruce Highway fairly well between Hervey Bay, or we'll say Bundaberg, and Gladstone. There's still a bit of work to definitely be done between Gladstone and Rockhampton, and a lot of my friends who fish further north tell me that you don't really want to drive a lot further north on that Bruce Highway. So that's where this election could be a key cornerstone, where either party or the major parties can focus on investing some money and improving that Bruce Highway further north above Rockhampton. And the drive time between Rockhampton and Zilsey is only half an hour. And if you need to come back from Zilsey for that major infrastructure, you've got everything in Bundaberg. So it's only a half-hour run between the two.
All right, as I mentioned, it is election day. Make sure that you don't leave it to the last minute. Get in, cast your vote. We're lucky to be in a country that you can do that. And have you noticed that with the election that some people are just holding off pulling the trigger, whether it's buying or selling?
Yeah, correct. Look, I've seen this every single election. So a lot of people will use an election to be indecisive on many fronts. So in my opinion, the quicker we get this election out of the way, the better everything will be, because we've noticed a downturn in buyer inquiry, certainly over the last couple of weeks. And that was off the back of that tropical cyclone Alfred. So I reckon we'll see an interest rate reduction in May, straight off the bat behind this election. And we'll see people go back to some form of normality. And I think the property market's going to surge. We can check in on that one next podcast, but I think we're going to see a surge in buyer interest, and the property market will surge again after this.
All right, so all eyes will be on the outcome of today's election, and yes, we'll look and see just how that prediction shapes up. Enjoy your time there with your mum, Kath, and thanks for coming back on to the Real Estate Breakfast.
We'll catch you next month, Craig. Thanks so much.
From the emotion of property, the economic inflation, managing your expectations, lack of stock, price growth, construction appetite, days on the market. Stay informed with us and know your property.
And the problem is that nobody in today's world is going to say anything to that person, because people are always highly offended. We live in the world of being, oh, you've just offended me. How bad of you to say such a thing. So the person that is acting in that way, it will never actually come to their attention. But people, when they're watching it, they'll go, oh, look at that guy or look at that girl. And I have to say, not that many girls, it's mainly the guys.
Well, it's interesting because you don't see a lawyer putting up a social media post going, right, I sued this person, I got this done. It's not how they market themselves. Accountants don't do it. None of the professional industries utilize that as the way to gain and grow business because no one wants to watch it. If I was watching a lawyer sitting there telling me all these things, I wouldn't really want to engage with it. We're meant to be part of the community. These are people who are selling their home, so it's personal. It's not just a business transaction for them. It's the biggest transaction they'll make. They want to feel like they actually connect with you. So instead of thinking about what you want to tell them, you have to think about what do they want to know about you to feel comfortable enough to engage you.
2025, Charlotte, that person that is still thinking about whether or not to go into the real estate industry this year, I would suggest, hey, 2025, we've got rate cuts coming up this year. Of course, it's a great time to go into real estate because the market is going to start to change and possibly change big time. We don't know exactly because we don't know how many of these rate cuts, but it will be a changing year.
I think you're right. I think it's definitely, I think there's two things, right? Real estate is cyclical. So there's always going to be good times, hard times, fantastic times and horrible times. It just comes through this cycle. And there are things you control and things you can't control. If anyone's thinking about getting into real estate, 100%, if you like working with people, if you love negotiating, if you've got an interest in technology, then it could be a fantastic career for somebody. You got to make sure you get into a company though, where there's mentoring and training and support, because when the market's great, it's a fantastic trajectory to get the lessons that you need because you start to get the momentum. You're seeing the great side because at some point it may become a little bit more challenging. And if you've set yourself up right in a good market, then everything is going to be much easier from that moment.
Explore new property destinations where you could live with exclusive interviews covering real estate news and market insights.
Good morning. So good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
It has. I think the last time we spoke to you, you were launching your book, so you would have sold a few of those copies, eh?
Oh my God. Yeah, but it's still, real estate is a better business. Yeah.
Foreign investment in Australian property is down with a 15% drop in approvals last year. What's sort of happening in that space? Because you're dealing with that big time.
Especially, you just mentioned the U.S. desire for U.S. properties from top to 7 now. Obviously, it's because of tariff, because of this trade war, making it really uncertain for the international buyers, particularly from China. But we're very lucky. So I think we're in a lucky country in Australia, and desire has gone up like a bananas. So we're doing really, really well. Again, it's always the same reason. It's just safe.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.